Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Saturday, August 28th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 5 days. The game against Michigan in 91 days. There is real, live, honest to goodness college football happening today. It is not a particularly deep lineup, and there aren't any, well, I'm going to be charitable and say there aren't any super elite teams playing, but it is college football, and that means the longest offseason in major North American sports is now over. Hooray, we all made it. It is week 0. I wanted to have our old friend Jared from the Sloopcast on to preview a few games for today. Probably talk a little bit about Thursday's Ohio State-Minnesota game, and also just discuss some of the things we're just excited to see back this fall. Jared, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I always enjoy coming on the show. This is my first time on the show since moving down to the studio.
I think it might be. Your setup looks different than the last time I think I had you on. So yeah,
I'm still upstairs.
Yeah, your branding is always very subtle, which I like.
You don't say.
Yes, if you're not watching on YouTube, he has a Sloopcast shirt on, a Sloopcast like banner on the wall behind him. So you can find him. You can just search the Sloopcast and you can find Jared and his very subtle branding. First game of note today, it's in the Big Ten. It is Nebraska, Illinois.
Yeah.
It's the start of the Brett Bielema era for the Illini. And with a loss, it could be the beginning of the end for the Scott Frost era at Nebraska. Jared, the Huskers aren't really going to blow this one and lose to Burt, are they? They can't do that, can they?
I don't like Nebraska this year, but I actively hate Illinois this year. So I think Illinois should be, and I don't think it'll be close, the worst team in the Big Ten this year, which I think is kind of an evergreen thing to say. But the gap is sizable, because a lot of times you could say, or maybe Rutgers, or maybe, but no, it's Illinois by a lot.
Yeah, and this game is in Champaign, and I think they've got a bunch of offensive line starts back. They have. I read all about Illinois football, and then I don't have it in front of me, but they have some crazy number of offensive line starters. Career starts returning. It's like there's no way you should lose to this team, but there is a way you could lose to this team. And if they do lose to this team, that feels like, I don't know what Scott Frost does to return from that, because they have, there's like 3-4 like absolute losses on that schedule. There's not that many like guaranteed wins or you should definitely win this game. They're favored by a touchdown. Like this is one of the ones you really need to get in the win column, because there's just so many coin flips later. It feels like if they don't win this game, that might just be it for him.
It's a real deep hole. I'm not going to say if he loses this game, he loses his job, but I don't foresee him losing this game and then having the season it would take to recover from that. Illinois' offensive line isn't terrible, and that is honestly the nicest thing you can say about them. They have like a middle of the pack offensive line in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And that is honestly by far the nicest thing you can say about Illinois. I don't even like the color scheme.
As a Mets fan, I prefer a slightly lighter blue, but the blue and orange, that'll play. It's a little Syracusey, but it'll play. Don't always love the execution that they do with that uniform color scheme, but it's not the worst.
I wish one of the colors was lighter.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and Ohio State's going to play Minnesota this week, so at least it's not maroon and gold. The Illini fans could be worse.
Oh, but they're bringing out the blacks.
They are. Yes, black uniforms.
Ohio State's going on the road at night to the Big Ten West. They had to bring the black uniforms out to try and get some of that Iowa Purdue magic.
Yes, that magic also, Northwestern tried that exact brand of magic a couple of years ago and lost by 7 touchdowns. So it's not, there may have been an expiration date on that particular brand of magic.
66%.
Yeah, that's true. That'll pass you. Another coach, in addition to Scott Frost, another coach who may be coaching for his job this season is Chip Kelly out of UCLA. Bruins host Hawaii today. This is Chip's 4th season in Westwood, which seems like, is that right? Like, is that really, has he already been there that long? But it's the same number as Frost. He came in just like Frost, a lot of hype, and it just kind of hasn't happened. And, I think everyone kind of knows Frost is 12-20. That's not very good. That's a big problem after 3 seasons. what people, I think everyone just kind of has forgotten about last year's Pac-12 season. Frost is 12-20. Chip Kelly is 10-21. I mean, they have basically had the first 3 years. You go through UCLA's schedule, it's a lot like Nebraska too. Like there's a lot of toss-up games, not very many guaranteed wins. This should be one of them. You should beat Hawaii. Hawaii is very not good this year. But then next week they get LSU at home. Rest of the home schedule is Fresno State, Arizona State, Oregon, Colorado, Cal. You're not beating LSU. You're not beating Oregon. Arizona State, like, I don't know. I mean, kind of throw up my hands given their NCAA issues. It's just like a complete mystery. So it's like, okay, Fresno State, Colorado, Cal, like, sure, you could win those. Probably win at Arizona. That gets you to 5. And then you got to steal one at some point. So I don't know. I mean, this feels like this could be Chip Kelly's last year at UCLA. What do you think?
Do they care out in? I mean,
it's a fair question. It is a fair question.
It's sort of, we've seen coaches hang on to jobs just because people don't necessarily care about the football program that much. So can they do better? Do people care? Can they do better? I think are two of the questions you have to ask yourself in regards to his hot seat. The expectations aren't very high, which, again, like middle of the road in their own Pac-12 division is about their expectation right now. They have an okay quarterback. The rest of them is pretty average. But yeah, you should absolutely beat Hawaii. It was spreads like 17.5, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That sounds right.
Yeah. So the sad part is I don't know if they cover it. Mm-hmm. Hawaii is not good. They're Hawaii. They have some of that, and maybe it's just the ESPN and whatnot trying to get people to watch the game this weekend. But there's been a few of those. Hawaii might be one of those teams, and I don't believe it, but that buzz is out there in the same way that a lot of people are trying to tell me that North Carolina is going to the playoffs, and I'm not buying that either. But yeah, Chip Kelly might keep his job due to good old-fashioned apathy. But they should absolutely 100% beat Hawaii.
They should. And you wonder also, I mean, Chip Kelly could be a hot seat guy. Clay Helton has been a hot seat guy since it seems like about 1994 or so. So, yeah. You might not have the most attractive option in the city of Los Angeles if you both open this offseason. That could be enough to keep him around. And you wonder about the uncertainty around the conference and the TV deal and all that kind of stuff. And does that make it more important for you to be better soon and have a level of excitement? Or does that mean that there's so much uncertainty that you don't want to commit a bunch of money to a buyout and hire a new guy? And the answer is, I don't know.
I think it means you don't want to make a bunch of changes until you know what your financial books are going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. Like, if they join the Big Ten, which, is a thing that may or may not happen, if the rate of the Pac-12 happens, it changes their financial lives as an athletic department. So at that point, you can not only maybe pay a coach that you want to pay, but then also promise him the staff, facilities, yada, 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 that, for a coach that is going to get in there and really make a difference, they're not just going to want paid, they're going to want their assistants paid and facility upgrades and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that is definitely that staff pool for all the assistants. That is a major thing. Everyone talks about the top line money for the head coach. That's just as important for a lot of those head coaches because you want that second contract. And if you don't have good assistants, a lot of times you're living that buyout life.
Yeah, I mean, for all of the things that Urban Meyer changed about the Big Ten, paying assistants was the one that people don't talk about enough because they started an assistants arm race that had already started in the South, but was not present in the North at the time.
Yeah, 100% on that. We are within the bounds, speaking of Ohio State and Urban Meyer, we are within the bounds of an Ohio State game week. So I'm going to let you share your thoughts on the Minnesota game. I will have 17 Buckeye Weekly podcasts and morning scoops between now and then, but you will have just a handful of Sloopcasts, a couple of Sloopcasts between now and then. But
the funny thing is, I'm not even sure how many.
Welcome to the start of the season where it's like, oh, Is that next week? Like, wow. Wow. That's here already, huh? So go ahead and share some thoughts on the Minnesota game. Like what are you expecting on Thursday night? I mean, new starting quarterback on the road, literally never thrown a pass in college. I mean, you got the reshuffled offensive line. There's a lot of interesting stuff to look at heading in this game. What are you expecting from the Buckeyes on Thursday?
I think from an offensive, you talk new quarterback, reshuffled offensive line, all of that stuff. I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried even the slightest bit about the offense. Ohio State had a quarterback controversy, but it was the good kind of quarterback controversy. It's the kind of quarterback controversy that how do we hold all these quarterbacks, right? So I'm not at all concerned about that. Offensive line, they're making shuffles not because they're desperate to fill holes for players they don't have. They're trying to fill spots for players they do have. So it's a problem, but it's a great problem. Wide receivers best in the country. Running backs insanely deep, some of the best talent in the country. One of the best defensive lines up there in the country, probably the best defensive line but that's what I want to see. I want to see guys like Zach Harrison healthy and fulfill his potential. I want to see Haskell Garrett maybe even go that next notch up. He's already something special, but to go that next spot up. I want to see some of those young defensive players, those young defensive ends, your JTTs and JT Tuimoloau. I've learned he does not like that. Jack Sawyers, get them on the field. Offense, there's a lot of new faces, but there's a lot of old faces. They're going to be fine. It also helps Minnesota's defense is kind of crap. Minnesota's offense, on the other hand, has talent. Great offensive line, good quarterback talent, great running back talent, a little sketchy in the wide receiver area, but we want to see, what do these linebackers look like? How dedicated are we to the bullet position? Replaced, we're going to have a new second corner, a new first corner technically, but you know what I mean. The defense is where all the big question marks are. And I feel like aside from Minnesota's lack of depth at the wide receiver position, I feel like that they will actually offer a pretty good test to Ohio State's defense, even if Minnesota's defense is not going to provide much of a test for Ohio State's offense.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I would be fairly surprised if Minnesota beat Ohio State, but I would also be fairly surprised if Ohio State beat Minnesota 56-3 or something. That's not this kind of game. That sounds about right. So that'll be.
I think 56-24 is on the table.
That's a possibility. That is definitely a possibility.
And the 56 isn't the part that I think is an impossibility. Yeah, 56 is totally reachable.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about all the stuff you're excited to see on Thursday. The different position groups and different guys. I am just so excited to see a full stadium on Thursday. Holy smokes. I mean, those games last year were just, being inside the stadium last year, it was at times a little bit creepy.
Sometimes I forget that you guys were.
Yeah. And
experienced that. And then you were actually down on the field. Yes.
For some of them. Yes. And it was just,
eerie.
You're in the stands. They didn't let you on the field. You were in A deck.
Okay.
But you get those, you'd see something in your peripheral vision and turn around and there's a cardboard version of Joel Klatt looming over your shoulders, get out, scare me. It just, they're piping in the crowd noise. It never felt like a real game. It was just kind of it was like you're watching a scrimmage and they're just scrimmaging against another team for a long period of time. Even the Big Ten championship game was kind of like that. So, that's my thing. Bands, fans, cheerleaders, tailgates, all of this stuff back. It doesn't look like an episode of After Humans or whatever. We're in the empty tailgating lots around Ohio Stadium on a game day. So what are you most looking forward to seeing in college football this fall?
Just atmosphere. And what I'm looking forward to the most is the things I'm not thinking about. I'm not thinking about games not happening. I'm not thinking about COVID test, and I'm not thinking about when is the season going to start. And I am still thinking about Kevin Warren, but for different reasons. It's what I'm looking forward to most this year is thinking about talking about football. You know what I mean? Just without the clouds, without the storm clouds, without the gray, just football. It's the normalcy is what I'm looking forward to the most. It's just the normalcy of it all.
Well, as someone who hosts a college football podcast, I'm glad you're looking forward to talking about college football because I suspect you'll get to do it a bunch this fall. This is all worked out great for you.
I literally had the COVID germs in one of my thumbnails last year on YouTube. That doesn't feel great. I didn't, you know what I mean? It's not.
The 2020 college football season is not, strictly speaking, what you want. I think we can all agree on that. So hopefully 2021 off to a much better start this weekend and next week as the Buckeyes kick off. I was going to let you plug your plans for the Sloopcast this season, but it sounds like the plans may be a little vague. But let people know about the Sloopcast. What you guys do, what you guys bring, how you're a little different than some of the other podcasts on the Buckeye Scoop Podcast Network.
Yeah, we like to consider ourselves more the fan-driven voice of the Buckeye Scoop radio network and podcast network, and YouTube network is what I meant to say. So we don't have access. I would have been thrown out if I tried to get anywhere near even a deck last year. So that's what Kyle and I try to bring is a level of unprofessionalness. And just sort of, like I said, acting as the fan voice on the Buckeye Scoop. That's sort of our goal. We release an episode every Monday morning, and we'll continue to do that at the very least. We will be moving into 2 episodes a week territory now that the season starts. Monday's a recap, and Friday is a pregame. We might be adding more, or we might be switching to kind of a smaller episode. We're still figuring it out, even this late in the proceedings. But we'll figure that out. And honestly, as long as you subscribe to both the podcast and the Buckeye Scoop YouTube channel, then you won't miss a thing. So everything will be fine. Click that bell, hit the subscribe button, and do all those YouTube-y things.
Yes, if you would like to do those YouTube-y things, I will, at the end of this video, there will be a thing that pops up and says, has another video you can watch on our channel. It'll also have a little circular Buckeye Scoop logo. You can click on that, and that will subscribe you to our channel, and then you'll get notified every time.
Maybe throw my playlist up there, too.
I can see if I can do that. I can probably figure that out.
I have access to the YouTube channel. I'll fix it.
There we go. All right. So then Jared will fix it. Good news, everyone. Jared will fix it. So yeah, you can subscribe to our Buckeye Scoop YouTube channel that way. You can subscribe to the Sloopcast on your podcast platform of choice. You can subscribe to all of the great Buckeye Scoop podcasts by searching Buckeye Scoop, or you can just search Sloopcast to find the Sloopcast. You'll find us all. Subscribe right there. That way you'll never miss an episode, no matter what their recruiting schedule is. Everett's recruiting schedule is a little wonky this time of year as we're sort of getting things figured out. A Thursday game doesn't help with any of the planning and any of the normal schedules. But
we would have had it figured out by now if not for that.
Yeah, but the season starts 2 days sooner than it would have otherwise. So there you go. Everything's working out just fine. So that is some stuff you have to look forward to this week. Also, the world premiere of the documentary Fight for Football, Saving the 2020 Season, that is coming out on Monday night, 7 p.m. at the Lenox Theater, right across the river from the Ohio State campus. We'll have the documentary screening from 7 to 8. Then we'll have a live Q&A with Buckeye Scoop staff members from 8 to 9. That is going to be a fantastic event. I am really, really excited, really looking forward to it. If you have not gotten tickets yet, you can get tickets at fightforfootball.com. There's a link to the Eventbrite where you can purchase tickets there. I don't think they're going to let you do walk-up. So buy your tickets now. Don't wait till the last minute, because we will ultimately fill that theater. We already had to upgrade from the one size theater to the next size up because we sold too many tickets. What a problem to have, but it's going to be a fantastic night. It is a really, really fun, interesting film. Lots of stuff you probably didn't know about last year's Big Ten season, and they fight within the Ohio State football program to save it. So that's all at fightforfootball.com. Finally, we talked about our YouTube channel. We talked about our podcast, BuckeyeScoop.com. Fantastic team of insiders. Lots of great information on our SC Insiders board. We have tons of content about recruiting, tons of content about this year's team. We're going to have lots of content pre and post game next week at Minnesota. It is all at BuckeyeScoop.com. Sign up today to become a member. You get access to our team of insiders, all sorts of other great benefit, access to fun events, and so much more, all at BuckeyeScoop.com. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Enjoy the football today. We've waited long enough. Please enjoy the football. We will talk to you tomorrow.